Hello, welcome my to channel reading book 1984 section 2 chapter 1. Whatever was writing on the paper must have some kind of political meaning. So far as he could say, there were two possibilities, and much the more likely was that the girl was an agent of the South Police, just as he had afraid. He had not now waited through police should choose to deliver their message is such sorry in such a fashion, but perhaps they had a reason. They think that what writing on the paper might be threat. Is someone another to committed suicide? A try of some description, but there was another older possibility that kept raising its head, so he tried vanilla supports it. That was that the message did not come from the South Police at all, but from some kind of underground organization. Perhaps the Brotherhood existed after all. Perhaps the girl was part of it. No doubt the idea was absorbed, but it had sprung into his mind the very instead of filling the scrap of paper in the hive was not still a couple of minutes later that the older, more probably explanation, had occurred to him, and even now so he intelligent told him that the message problem meant this still that was not what he believed, and the unreasonable hope precise and this hard bench, and it was with difficulty that they kept his voice from trembling as he murmured his figure into a speaker. He rolled up the complete bundle of work and slid it into the pneumatic tube. 8 minutes had gone by. He registered his spectacle on his nose, sighed and drew the next batch of work toward him with the scrap of paper on top of it. He flattened it out and was writing in a large, unformed handwriting. I love you. For several seconds, he was to stammer even to throw the incriminating thing to the memory hole. Well, he did so. Also, he now revealed the danger of showing too much interest. He could not resist reading to once again just to make sure that the words were really there. For the rest of the morning it was very difficult to work. Was even worse than having to focus his mind on the niggling job was the need to conceal in his imagination from the telescreen. He felt as though a fear were burning in the belly line in the hall. Crowd, newsful, canteen was torment. He had hoped to be alone for a little while in the lunch hall, but as bad luck would have it, the impossible perhaps flopped down beside him. Tongue of his stood almost defined the tiny smell of the stove, and kept up the stream of talk about the preparation for it. Weak, he was particularly exhausted about a pair much model of big brother had 2 meters weight, which was being made for the occasion by a daughter throw of spade. A irritating thing was that is the racket on voice Winston called her earlier what person was staying, and so continuously having to ask for some fortuitous remark to be repeated just as he caught a glimpse of the grill at the tap with 2 other girls at the far end of the room. She appeared not to have seen him, and he did not look in a direction again. The afternoon was more bearable immediately after lunch and arrived like a difficult pace of work which would take several hours and necessitate putting every single state. It consisted in facilify a series of reproduction report of 2 years ago in such a way as to cast direct on the prominent number of the employee who was now under a cloud. This was the kind of thing that Wilson was good at, and for more than 2 hours he succeeded in shooting the girl out of his mind. Also gathered and memory of her face came back, and with it the Grange intolerable desire be alone till he could be alone. It was impossible to sing this now in development out. Tonight was one of his night at the community center. He wolfed another tasteless meal in the canteen. Harriet of the counter took part in the solemn flurry of the discussion group played to game of table tennis, slowed several glasses of gain and set for health and overthrew electrical title ignos in reaction to chess. His soul rifle whispered then, but for once he had had no impulse to strain his evening at the center at the sight of the word I love you. The desire to stay alive had evolved up in him, and the taking of memories sundry Sam's stupid was not till 24 hours when he was home and in bed in the dark. Never you were safe even from the telescreen so long as you keep silent. That he was able to think consciously. It was physical world that had to be slower how to get in touch with the girl and arrange a meeting. He did not consider any longer the possibility that she might be lying some kind of trap for him. He knew that it was not so because of her unmistakable agency when she handed him to note. Obviously, she had been frightened out of her wits as well she might be, nor did the idea for refuse her advance even cross his mind. Only 5 nights ago he had contemplated as smashing her skull in with a couple of stones, but that was now of no importance. He thought of her neck, useful body as he had seen it is his dream. He had imagined her full like all the rest of them. Her head stuffed with land, her red, her belly full of ice. I kind of favorized him at the so that he might lose her. His white, useful body slid away from him. What the fear more than any was that she would simply change her mind if he got in touch with her quickly. But the physical difficulty of meeting was enormous. Well, like trying to make a movie at the chase when you were already met. Whichever way you turn the telescope face, you actually all the possible way of communicating with her had occurred to him within 5 minutes of reading the notice. But now it's time to see he went over them on by on as so laying out of an instrument on a table. That's enough. Goodbye.